Over the weekend, we got ourselves a bunch of Pokemon GO news that dropped, and I am actually really excited for what was revealed. I also want to talk about the Ice Catch Mastery event that happened over the weekend, because it is garnering a lot of mixed reactions. Yeah, so pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day, and welcome to today's Pokemon GO video. So we got a lot of news to cover regarding Pokemon GO's future, and we also have to talk about this Ice Catch Mastery event. Let's start off by talking about that event. So, there was a lot of mixed reactions behind this event. I think there was a good number of players that were actually really enjoying it and thought it was a very solid event. And there were other players who were very disappointed by it. And I personally think that all of that disappointment and frustration is well merited, and there's some lessons that Niantic needs to learn. So, what exactly happened? Well, this Ice Catch Mastery event was meant to be something fresh, and a lot of players were looking forward to it. There was a lot of Pokemon that was being featured that a lot of players actually care about, like Snorunt and Bergmite, and a lot of players were thinking that there would be an increased shiny rate for some of these Pokemon during this event, which in some ways was true, but it wasn't to the degree that a lot of players thought it would be. This was of course because Niantic advertised that there would be an increased shiny rate when they first announced this event. And I can understand that some players had certain expectations for how many shinies they would end up with if they were to play during this event. And unfortunately, the shiny rates weren't boosted by a whole lot. In fact, a lot of players through just sheer research discovered that the shiny rate was more close to about 1 in 128. Which, yeah, it is a boosted rate compared to the typical 1 in 512, but I think a lot of players were expecting it to be the perma-boosted rate of 1 in 69.
Nice.
Of course, I think that was the shiny rate for Cryogonal or Cryogen, I don't know what the Pokemon's called, but the Pokemon that you could get from field research tasks as well as that paid timed research ticket was something that probably did have a perma boosted rate. For myself, I played through most of the event and I did not get myself any shinies, and that was okay because I did not spend any money on this event. I just kind of treated it for what it was. It was just a simple event that was happening over a weekend in preparation for the next event that's going to be happening, which is of course December 2023 Community Day. I think that event is more deserving of hype, and it's an event that you can get the maximum results out of without having to spend a single dollar in Pokemon GO. And I think that's okay. I think that's how it should be. But for all the people who bought the paid limited timed research ticket expecting to get a couple of shinies, well, they were incredibly disappointed because they spent money on the game and they expected to get shinies as a result. But of course, that return on investment did not happen for a majority of players. And I think that's something that Niantic needs to take into account. If they want to withhold the value of these paid limited time research tickets, then they need to be less stingy when it comes to what players are expecting. Like, if you're paying money in Pokemon GO, I do think it's reasonable that you get a return on that investment. I really do not like the idea of you constantly paying money for just more RNG mechanics. I think there needs to be some level of guaranteed reward so that players know what they're expecting when they make these purchases. But yeah, overall, there was a lot of discussions regarding this event after it happened, and I totally understand that some players would be unhappy about it, but I personally think that this event was not something worth spending money over, so if you ended up spending money on that paid limited time research ticket, I suggest that in the future, you just do not buy those tickets. It's really not always worth it. And yeah, for Niantic, I really feel like they need to be more transparent. Like, if they're going to boost the shiny rates of some of these Pokemon, then they need to make sure the wording is reflective of just how much they are going to be boosting it. I mean, a lot of players would prefer that they would just disclose the shiny rates before the event even happens, but I don't think Niantic will ever do that considering the business implications behind doing something like that. Like, they do want people to buy these limited time research tickets, but they are probably fully aware that players will not buy those tickets if they disclose the shiny rates, and I'm pretty sure that's why they haven't done so in the longest time. It is really scummy and it's not something that is ideal, but Niantic is a company that needs to make money, so I could totally understand why they do these scummy tactics. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this is probably a filler event that's going to be leading up to the December 2023 Community Day, which they actually released the details for over the weekend, and I'm really excited about what they shared. As per the case for every single year's December Community Day, this is going to be happening over 2 days, and on each day between 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time, you're going to have increased spawns of the Community Day Pokemon, as well as a bunch of event bonuses. Those bonuses include 2 times experience for catching Pokemon, 2 times the amount of Stardust for catching Pokemon, a half hatch distance when eggs are placed in incubators during the event period, 2 times the amount of candy for catching Pokemon, 2 times the amount of chances for XL candy when you catch Pokemon, and then lure modules and incense are going to last for 3 hours. You're also going to have 1 additional special trade that you can make per day, and then you're also going to have a 50% discount when you trade Pokemon. Now, let's talk about what Pokemon are going to be spawning in the wild during each day. On Saturday, December 16th, from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time, you're going to see an increased amount of Slowpoke, Galarian Slowpoke, Togetic, Chespin, Fennekin, and Noibat. And then on December 17th, from 2 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. local time, you're going to see an increase of Poliwag, Wooper, Paldean Wooper, Timber, Axew, Froakie, and Grubbin. And then also throughout both days, you're going to see an increase of Charmander, Squirtle, Mareep, Swinub, and Larvitar. Now, during raid battles during this event, you're going to see in 1-star raids, Sandshrew, Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Geodude, Hoppip, Teddiursa, Galarian Zigzagoon, Spheal, Starly, Roggenrola, Litwick, Dino, and Stuffle. These are, of course, the Community Day Pokemon from last year, and this is a way for you to get those Pokemon if you missed out on them. And then hatching from 2-kilometer eggs during this event, it's going to be mostly the same Pokemon. Sandshrew, Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Geodude, Hoppip, Teddiursa, Galarian Zigzagoon, Spheal, Starly, Roggenrola, Litwick, Dino, and Stuffle. Now, of course, considering that this is a community day, you're going to be able to get a bunch of community day moves, including Pokemon from last year. Any Charmeleon that you evolve into Charizard during this event is going to know the Fast Attack Dragon Breath, as well as the Charge Attack Blast Burn. Any Wartortle that you evolve into Blastoise is going to learn Hydro Cannon. Any Sandshrew that you evolve into Sandslash is going to know the attack Night Slash, and any Alolan Sandshrew that you evolve into Alolan Sandslash is going to know the fast attack Shadow Claw. Alolan Golem is going to have the fast attack Rollout. Poliwrath is going to have the fast attack counter. Any of the Slowpoke or Galarian Slowpoke evolutions is going to have the move Surf, and then Ampharos is going to have Dragon Pulse. Politoed is going to have Ice Beam. Jumpluff is going to have Acrobatics, Quagsire is going to have Aqua Tail, Tyranitar is going to have Smackdown, Walrein is going to learn Powder Snow and Icicle Sphere, Staraptor is going to have Gust, Togekiss is going to gain the move Aura Sphere, Mamoswine is going to get Ancient Power, Gigalith is going to have Meteor Beam, Conkeldurr is going to have Brutal Swing, Chandelure is going to get Poltergeist, Haxorus is going to get Breaking Swipe, Hydreigon is going to get Brutal Swing, Chestnut is going to get Frenzy Plant, Delphox is going to get Blast Burn, and Greninja is going to get Hydro Cannon. And then Noivern is going to get Boom Burst, Vikavolt is going to get Volt Switch, Bewear is going to get Drain Punch, Obstagoon with Obstruct, Ursaluna is going to gain High Horsepower, and then Clodsire is going to get Megahorn. This is pretty insane. There's just so many different Community Day moves that you can get during this event, and you do not want to miss out on any of them. We are, of course, going to be getting the generic research story that you could buy for $1 USD, and this is typically worth it, and I really do think that when it comes to December Community Day, it's even more worth it. So do not miss out on this if you're willing to spend the money. There's also going to be a timed research during this event, which is going to award you with the various items that you need in order to evolve certain Pokemon, like King's Rock, Magnetic Lures, and various things like that. And then finally, there's going to be Pokestop showcases that's going to be centered around all of the Pokemon listed above. So if you get any XXL Pokemon, make sure you hold on to them for these Pokestop showcases so that you can maximize the amount of rewards. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with this Community Day, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then finally, there was another bit of news that was recently uncovered, and this is actually a leak caused by Niantic themselves. So what ended up happening was that Niantic accidentally published the Community Day event page for Chansey, which is a community day that's going to be happening next year in February. This community day had a lot of question marks surrounding it. A lot of people were wondering what community day move that both Chansey and Blissey would be getting, and it looks like we got that information now thanks to this particular leak. Before the page was taken down, it stated that any Chansey that you evolve into Blissey is going to learn 2 new moves. It's going to learn the Fast Attack Egg Bomb and the Charge Attack Soft Boiled. Both of these moves are going to work very differently from how they do in the mainstream games, and they're both going to add a lot of offensive power to the Pokemon Blissey. In my opinion, this is okay, because Blissey is a very cool Pokemon, but it really has a lot of limited uses. I really like the idea of Blissey stepping out of its isolated role as a gym defender and making its way into Pokemon GO's PvP system. Like, the implications behind this Pokemon gaining new moves is pretty massive, because it could make an impact within the Ultra League as well as the Master League. There are some benefits to this Pokemon actually being a part of those leagues, because on top of them making the meta being a lot more diverse, it's also going to add new strategies to those game modes where it's really just a big game of rock, paper, scissors. The idea of them including big tanks into those metas is something that I want to explore, and I do think it's going to make the gameplay a little bit more interesting. But yeah, a lot of PvPers are celebrating that both Chansey or Blissey is not getting the fast attack pound, because that would have been completely broken, especially if Chansey were to get that fast attack. So yeah, this was all of the stuff that happened over the weekend, and I'm really curious to see what all of you are thinking regarding these announcements. And I would also like to know your thoughts regarding the Ice Catch Mastery event as well. Was that something that you were disappointed by, or is it something that you just simply did not care about? And what do you think about the December 2023 Community Day announcement? And what do you think about Blissey getting both of these attacks in its Community Day? Let me know those thoughts down below, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to all the patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then make sure you go and check out the links in the description below. For all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game events list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon GO, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel non-monetarily, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on these following platforms. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.